Jones.
Yeah, and you guys do enough things that you figure out where somebody fits in, don't you?
Yeah,
and it's
and like I said before, they're throwing the ball so much now in the NFL. I've even thought about, hey, maybe we should play with 3 corners and 1 safety majority of the time, and that's kind of the in vogue thing now, and to look for a safety that can cover. If you can get 2 of them, then it's even better. But that's kind of how football is going. The way college football is nowadays, they're throwing the ball all over the place. It's almost basketball on grass, and so. We have to counter that.
When you start with the 2 corners of Jonathan Joseph and Leon Hall, it's a good start, and I guess those are like a foundation you build around.
It really is. It's an excellent start, and the good thing is that those 2 corners, we've trained them, we've molded them to how we want to play. It allows us to do so many things defensively with those 2 guys. They're both really tough, competitive people, and they're good guys. They work real hard at practice, and it was nice to see Jonathan stay healthy all this last year, and I think it improved our defense quite a bit.
Very good. Morgan Trent also made some strides last year. Brandon Gee was, I guess I'm saying his name right, was drafted.
It's G.
It's G.
Yeah.
Usually I'll pick the wrong way. So there are guys then that you're looking at that, okay, can we come in and then complement what they're doing?
It is. It's some of it in the nickel packages, but you really have to look at them. I hate saying, okay, this guy can be the nickel back. Well, what if one of the starters gets hurt? Now your nickel back has to go play corner. Yeah. So I'd rather find a guy that, hey, we think this guy can be a corner for us, and then now if he's good enough to do that, he should be able to go inside and play nickel for us.
Sure. Reds defensive coordinator, learn a defensive playbook, because we always hear about guys trying to learn an offensive playbook, receivers and whatever. Is defense as difficult?
Not to me. I think sounds like offense is way harder, but really for defense, it's more terminology than it is anything else. It's not so you're speaking the same language. Really, I don't think guys really have a hard time understanding it. Now they may have a hard time understanding professional football, but as far as learning the things of what we do, it's really not that difficult.
He also wants to know, in your opinion, who's the best defensive player in the league?
Well, probably Leon Hall. He's one of our guys, right?
Sure.
You got to go with our guys.
I would too. Let's go Stuart in Walnut Hills. Stuart, you're on Meyer Sports of All Sorts with Mike Zimmer.
Hello, Pop.
Hey.
Coach Zimmer. Before the draft, usually going into the draft, a lot is made of drafting the best athlete available. And I was just wondering, the Bengals didn't draft a young free safety. They took you guys took Morgan G in the 3rd round. I just have the question, what goes into the process of deciding what players you pick and where? I mean, I'm sure that there's a lot of opinions that are going on in that war room, but I think Morgan Burnett, the kid from Georgia Tech, was still on the board. I'm not sure if Taylor Mays was, but it seems like last year when Chris Crocker got hurt and we didn't have an adequate replacement in the deep middle. What in your scheme are you looking for when you look for a young free safety? And I'll get off the phone and let Coach Zimmer answer that.
Thanks, Stuart.
Well, quite honestly, we have 2 different types of safeties. We have one that in the past, I've played with 2 safeties that were kind of interchangeable, and now we've gone to where we can play with. We're trying to get one that is a little bit more cover safety and one a little bit more run support guy. As far as what goes on in the draft, we list all the guys by position where we think they're going to go in each round, or where we would take them in each round. We did try to draft Taylor Mays. We tried to make some trades to get up and get to him. We couldn't get it done, and then I believe the other guy he talked about, the guy from Georgia Tech, he got taken before we had a chance to pick, and so. Once we didn't get Taylor Mays, we went in a different direction. I think that's when we drafted Carlos Dunlap or something. But anyway, and then sometimes, just because the draft gurus say that this guy is the greatest thing, we really don't feel that way, and so we're not going to pick a guy. But as it went on later in the draft, I felt like we would find a safety somewhere on the street or someplace, and you know, I didn't feel like we should really waste a draft pick on a guy that we didn't feel like could come in and contribute to the team.
Okay. More calls and emails on the other side of midnight. And how's Antoine Odom doing? Will he be ready to play this year?
You know, he's really doing pretty good. I was talking to the trainers and Marvin about him the other day, and the only thing he's not doing right now is pushing on a big body, but he's doing everything else. I had a kid that played for me in Dallas named Greg Ellis that tore his Achilles and came back and played the next year. So a lot of it depends on the position you play, but so far so good.
Okay, let's go to Mark in Reading. Mark, you're on Meyer Sports of All Sorts.
Hi.
Go ahead, Mark.
Good evening, Capo and Mike. Mike's condolences go out to you and your family. You've been done an outstanding job, I feel, as a coach since you've been with the Bengals, and I can't commend you for what you've done as far as to the city and also to everyone I talked to thinks that you'd even be an outstanding head coach. Like I said, I watch every week. I've been watching probably for 30 years or so. But I think you're one of the best defensive coordinators that we've ever had in here, and I just wish the timing with everything that happened in your life, that the way you turned the team around and the team stood beside you. I just feel like you just are just an unbelievable man and a person, and does a fantastic job. And I just had one question. I won't stay on here very long, but as far as talking about Odom, do we have any draft picks that you feel that we got in here this year that possibly could be starters as far as on the defense? And as far as the ratings, as far as on the defense, how do you predict that as far as how you feel we did? And thank you very much, and I hope you do well again this year. I think the world of you.
Well, thank you, Mark, for all the kind words. And first of all, let me say that the city of Cincinnati has been fantastic to me. The fans have been really super supportive. I know how fast that changes, but so far so good. Thanks for the comment about the head coach. We have a tremendous head coach here too in Marvin. He does a terrific job. Yeah, as far as the question is with the players, you know, it's really hard to tell how fast a guy will develop. I don't know if we'll have anybody come in and be starters this year, but I think they'll work their way into getting to that spot. But you never really know until you get on the field and you get to them with pads on. And so, you know, we did our off-season study, the defensive coaches, and really the defensive coaches, you know, right now everybody's talking about me, but really, you know, the Kevin Coyles and Jeff Fitzgerald and Jay Hayes and Louis Chofie, those guys are doing most of the work and most of the coaching. I'm just kind of overseeing things. So they're doing a good job. But when we went back and looked at the statistics and the plays from this past season, you know, I felt really good about where we're at, how we're doing things. We don't make very many mistakes. We may not be real pretty all the time, but we play real hard, and we make it a tough day for the offense. And that's really all I wanted to do when I first came in here, was make sure that we're fundamentally sound, we do things right, and we don't give up cheap plays. And for the most part, we haven't done any of that. So I felt good about it, and hopefully, I think with the third year in the system, and I also feel like the players that we have returning, even though we are playing a harder schedule, I feel like, you know, we've got a chance to be pretty good again.
The way the rules makers do it each year, is it becoming tougher and tougher and tougher to be a defense and do it the way you like to do it, aggressively and everything? I mean, let's admit it, the NFL is built around offensive firepower.
Right. We just had an officials meeting and talking about the rule changes for this next year, and you know, you can't launch into an offensive player now. I mean, you know, a lot of little bitty things that'll go on, but you know, we just play by the rules, and hopefully, and that's one of the things I'm proud of defensively too. You know, there's a lot of guys that will go and they'll take a bunch of cheap shots on people. We're not a cheap shot team. We do things right. We don't get very many penalties. We had a couple too many offsides that we jumped offsides a couple times last year. But for the most part, you know, we don't make it easy for the offense. And typically, when you give up a penalty on defense, it usually ends up in some kind of score, a field goal or touchdown.
Mm-hmm. We already talked about Antoine Odom. Tom from Bridgetown asked about Ray Mawaluga, Rashad Genty, how they're coming through their injuries and doing right now.
Well, Rashad right now is still in a boot, and he's getting treatment every day. Mawaluga should be cleared for practice. I can't remember. It might be May 15th, something like that. So it shouldn't be too much longer. But he's doing good, and you know, they're two good guys. They're tough competitors and guys that I like to have on our team.
Okay.